Tensions are mounting over anti-abortion protests in Thames, where a second anti-abortion group has just been granted a permit to protest outside the hospital. The anti-abortion group Voice for Life has been protesting at a street corner near Thames Hospital in the Coromandel every Friday, the only day of the week that abortion services are offered, for the last 5 years. A few months ago, a group of residents decided they'd had enough, and they started a pro-choice counter-protest to support women who they say have been left feeling intimidated and vulnerable. But now, as our social issues reporter Sarah Robson reports from Thames, another anti-abortion group has joined the fray.
Thames resident Rachel Harrison says that over the past 5 years, when she's driven to work on a Friday, she's avoided the corner where pro-life protesters have been gathering. But this morning, she was one of about a dozen locals taking part in a pro-choice counter-protest, complete with banners and signs. She says many local women, including some who have had terminations, are sick of feeling judged and harassed by the pro-life group Voice for Life.
I know women who work in town who have had terminations before and who every Friday morning get traumatised and reminded and get given a hard time, and it's not okay that women have a hard time because of a choice they've had to make.
Rachel Harrison has worked with survivors of sexual violence who she says are particularly vulnerable.
Some of them have fallen pregnant because of the abuse, especially from incest, and every Friday morning some of them have said to me that they go past here and they feel judged, not just because they had to make the choice to terminate the pregnancy that resulted from the abuse, but they're reminded and triggered back into the abuse again and again.
The organiser of the counter-protest, Scott Summerfield, says he and a number of others decided to take action back in August. He says they wanted to find a way to show solidarity with women who were going to the clinic for abortions, as well as those who have had terminations previously. At times, things have gotten tense between the two groups of protesters, and a complaint has been laid with police about an alleged assault that took place in September. Mr Summerfield says the government needs to introduce safe, no-protest zones around hospitals.
This is, I think, the only medical procedure I can imagine that you would have a protest about, and it's targeted at the women accessing that hospital. And it's surreal to think that, someone might protest about something I was going to a hospital for. It would never happen. It's just women going to the clinic for an abortion.
Another anti-abortion group, Right to Life, was yesterday granted a permit by the council to protest on the opposite side of the street. One of its team's members, Diane Keeney, says they are just trying to help women.
We stand here quietly with our signs, and we're getting more signs done which hopefully reflect our caring attitude towards women, which is, we may have a bit of a shortfall there with our signs, but we really want to address that because we're here to help women as well and offer them solutions and alternatives to abortion.
There have been calls for the Thames Coromandel District Council to revoke the permits that allow the pro-life groups to protest. But the council says it won't revoke permits for any of the groups, regardless of whether they are pro-life or pro-choice. For Checkpoint, Sarah Robson, Aho.